stories now. The controversy trailing the setting up of Ruga settlements across states by the federal government is still generating concerns. Well, some youths in Plateau and Taraba states are protesting against the plan, which the government claims will help resolve farmers-herders conflict. The protesters believe that the Ruga project will destroy the peaceful coexistence amongst various groups.
Youths in Taraba State on the streets of Jalingo protesting against the federal government's plan to establish Ruga settlements across states to resolve the farmers-herders conflict. They insist cattle ranching remains the best option in settling clashes between farmers and the herders.
The youth in Taraba have in one voice condemned in whole approval by the federal government for Ruga settlement in some local government areas in Taraba State. The local government are Sardona, Ibi, Lao and Zing. We describe this current idea as a misplace of priority in the face of poverty, insecurity, armed robbery, banditry and increased unemployment facing the society.
The decision made by the federal government in regards to the Ruga is an effort to abolish an existing law which has been established by Taraba State government as anti-grazing law.
In neighboring Plateau State, some groups condemn the Ruga initiative. They believe it's a plot for land grabbing.
This plan is tilted towards favoring a particular ethnic group above others in a country which belongs to us all. We see this as an act to displace indigenous natives from their ancestral lands and settlements under the guise of government scheme.
The community is going to be affected by the Ruga settlements. We're not consulted. There are laws in this country. The constitution of Nigeria says the allocation of land has to be done by state governors. The federal government has not done that.
The protesters say the Ruga project is a threat to the peace existing between various ethnic groups in the states, insisting it should be discouraged. In the same vein, they're appealing for a quick solution to the crisis to satisfy all parties.
And while the protest continues, Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong has been speaking on the claims that the federal government is forcefully taking lands from states for the Ruga project, and he says that it is not true. Mr. Lalong spoke to State House correspondents after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. He said that participation of the states that indicate interest in the plot is voluntary. The governor believes that the project will address the farmers-herders clashes and create employment.
That thing should not be anything that will bring controversy. For the level of sensitization that we already met, I'm a member of the Food Security Committee, and a member of the Herdsman Farmers Committee. We've gone a long way on this issue. And we've said that the only solution that can address some of these insecurity issues between herdsmen and farmers is the ranching policy. Those states applied. Those states said, we have lands for it. It's not federal government that is imposing it on any state. To the benefit of Mr. President, the President has not imposed that on any state. It was voluntary. And they said any state that is prepared to do that to address the issue of insecurity in his state should come out and apply. So some of the states applied, and we are at the level of the pilot scheme. And some mischief makers will start bringing terms to cause confusion. This is a policy that we felt that it is not only for the economic sense, but it's also going to address insecurity. And so if it's going to address this insecurity in the period of serious security that we have in the nation, then federal government will come and assist for those who want to do it.
Let's get more insight into this controversial subject, and we're now being joined by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us. Could you clarify, if you will, what this Ruga settlement plan is about to, at least to an extent, douse the ongoing controversy around it?
Well, let me say that Ruga settlement plan is the same thing as ranching, as proposed by many stakeholders, including some state governments that have promulgated anti-grazing laws, to the effect that they had banned that practice in favor of cattle ranching. So cattle ranching is the same thing as Ruga. It's 6.5 dozen. What really is the difference? Why is the federal government introducing it? It is being introduced in order to stop the roaming of cattle, which had been attended by incidents of frequent clashes between farmers and the herders. So everyone had come to the conclusion that this was a bad practice, it was antiquated, and it's out of time. No, settle them down and let them do their business there. So what is the federal government doing other than this? Asking state governments to apply if they wish to be a part of this. All of the 12 states that have signed on to it have done so by application, and they have met given criteria. There's no compulsion in all of this. It's all idle politics that we are hearing.
So we just heard the Plateau State Governor, Mr. Lalong, seem to be in agreement with what the government is saying in the establishment of this Ruga settlements, but the youths in the state, in the particular local government area, protested. How is that going to work for Plateau State?
What needs to be done is for them to be enlightened, because, as I said from the beginning, if you say, I want 6, I don't want half a dozen, you are just being redundant. People simply are being mobilized in order to cause popular disaffection in the country for reasons of politics. Otherwise, there is absolutely no issue here. Those who have a buy-in, those who are interested, come, let's do this thing together. If you want to stay out, that's your business. This is what the government is saying.
You know, when you say that 12 states have signed on to this, which states are those?
By my agreement with the officials that we have received information, who had given us briefing, Minister of Agriculture ruled, they would rather that we keep silent about it. One thing I will tell you, that the most outspoken critic of this policy, the governor of Benue, is not invited. He is not a part of it. He has no business meddling in this affair. If he has work to do, let him stay on his job and do it.
Is this Ruga settlement, is it the same thing, if you will? Is it the same thing as the National Livestock Transformation Plan, the brainchild of the National Economic Council? Is that what it is?
You know, there are a lot of these things are just matters of semantics. This country has a problem with herders who roam the entire country, length and breadth of the country, and they overrun farmland, and this causes disaffection and a fight. The government wants to stop this, so settle them down in one place, provide all of the infrastructure they need. As a matter of fact, markets will come to these Ruga settlements or ranches, if you want to call them that. There will be the establishment of meat processors. There will be the utilization of byproducts, including sanitary wares that will be manufactured from hooves and the cow horns. So there's going to be a lot of business and money in this thing. This is not confined to Fulani. It's a business open to all Nigerians who wish to be a part of it.
Now, let's get some more clarification, because as we saw those protests in Plateau State, we also had reports of protests in Benue State, where a signpost was mounted in a particular area, seeming to suggest that that area has been earmarked for the ranches, or should I say the Ruga now, to be established. Would you say that due process was followed in that regard?
As I said, my agreement with the briefing I got from Agrica officials, I will not name these 12 states that are involved, but one thing I can tell you is Benue is absolutely absent from this table. They didn't apply, and they have not been invited. So, but the thing is that, you know, the nature of politics in that place, people had used this ethnic cleavage to gain power. They need it to stay in power because they have no answers for the problems of their people.
You know, Mr. Garba, when I asked you earlier about those states, those 12 states that you said are signing on to this, don't you feel that the Nigerian people deserve to know those states that you say have signed up to this?
I agree with you. Maybe in due course, all of these things, in any case, you know that the federal government of Nigeria has approved funding for this project. So already in some of these states, work is going on. They have started mobilizing. Niger, a lot of work is going on there. So I believe that in a matter of time, all of these things. Now, but because the entire opposition to this is based on politics and blackmail and the promotion of ethnic hatred, that's the whole idea. So perhaps the idea of our informants is that let's protect those people who are cooperating with the government of Nigeria in solving a problem that worries everyone. Why do you expose them to hatred? That's the whole idea.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Malam Garbashew, we must thank you so much indeed for throwing more light on this very controversial issue. Many thanks indeed.